Hi, I'm Brian, and today we're going to go over how to do a timing belt on a 1990 Mazda Miata. Makes your head spin, doesn't it? First thing you want to do is undo the clamps on the upper radiator hose. Drain the antifreeze through the bottom. The drain cock is down on this side, I believe. After you do that, you can pull this off without consequence of messy antifreeze all over the place. Set that aside. Next thing you want to do is you want to unplug coolant temperature sensor, and then also undo the bolt that attaches your resonance box, and undo the hose that goes from the resonance box to the intake, and undo the clamp at the mass airflow sensor and also at the throttle body. Once you do that, you should be able to wiggle-roo this sucker right out of there. That's what you do. Drop the camera on the headlight. I promise I'm not drunk today. I'm just in a really spazzy mood. So anyway, you set those aside, and it gives you all kinds of access to get into the area you'll be working in. The next thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to pull out all the bolts on your valve cover. Let me stage this here. Except for these front ones, I leave that on because that's all part of the PCV system, and that's all, one piece in my opinion. So you take out all the bolts down this side, pull all your spark plug wires out. If you twist them back and forth first and then pull up, you'll have a lot better result with not leaving any components of the spark plug wire boot down inside the spark plug well. So, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So anyway, you pull out the ones down the center, pull out the other ones, pull out your PCV valve. It'll pull out with a little bit of wiggling and sweet talking, winked at it. And then I just pull mine up and set it upside down like so. If you do that, it'll keep it from dripping oil down into places like the exhaust and creating smoke and stink later when you put it together. And lo and behold, here's our timing belt. This one is covered in antifreeze because we have a leaky water pump. The water pump on this one is this pulley that's located right here, and probably could have unwrapped that and showed you better, but you can see that there's a pulley that goes here and there's another pulley that goes there. Those are for the timing belt, and they're behind this cover. It looks like this has a timing chain. It looks like a metal cover that's oil bath, but lo and behold, they're just being tricky. They made it a silver color so that it looks like it's got a timing chain, but in fact, the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I think you will find it's got a timing belt. So anyway, that's that. The next thing you want to do is you want to pull the bolts from either side here, and then also at the bottom there'll be two on this side and there'll be another two on the other side, and remove this upper cover. We unplugged our coolant temperature sensor already, and then the pressure sensor for the power steering pump's got to come off too. Give it a little squeeze, a little wiggle, say please. Give it a little squeeze, say please. That kind of rhymes. That's fun. I think I'll incorporate that into more videos. Looks like we might have had a coolant leak down here at some point too. But anyway, get that cleared out of the way. The next thing we'll want to do is we'll want to disconnect these little hoses and pull them off. So I'll remove those and pull this cover. I'll pull the belt. In order to pull the belt, you'll want to loosen the backside bolt on the top of the alternator. You see this bolt I'm touching? If you go to the back side of it, you loosen that, and then also on the end there's a tensioning pull bolt that I'm touching with my finger. It looks kind of like gray or tan, almost white. Loosen that, and that'll release the tension for your belt, for your alternator and your water pump. And also you'll want to loosen the pulley, or loosen the belt here and remove it as well. It looks like in order to do that one, you got to loosen it back here on the back side. You want to reach in through here and loosen it here as well, and then there'll be another hold on the end here. So I'll go to that point and I'll start again. Okay, on this Mazda Miata, I got the hoses off, I got all the timing covers off, and I have the harmonic balancer pulled off. That's the drive pulley at the bottom. There's three different plates here. You got to put on the one that's dished, dish it out, put it on the Woodruff key at the top, and then this one is just a washer for the bolts. And then after both of these are in place, then you put the harmonic balancer on, and the harmonic balancer has another plate that goes in the inside of it. There's four little 10mm bolts. That's all you got to do to pull it off. On the timing marks on this, let me see if I can get you to see on this one. But basically at the top you've got your marks set kind of, what was that, 30 degrees or something on each one. But basically the E on the exhaust cam goes straight up and the I on the intake cam goes straight up. And then you've got these little marks down below. And then at the very top of your harmonic balancer, crankshaft, where that one you want to have at the top. You see the little woodruff key is at the top there, and then there's a mark that corresponds as well. This one, on the way over, he says he couldn't hold up the RPMs. You see the E at the top there in the light. That's lined up, and then the I, it's not quite lined up. See how it's a little bit clockwise to what it should be? It's not vertical. So he's off a tooth on the intake cam, so that explains why it was running so crappy. Why was it off? Everything is exactly. It's totally covered in antifreeze and oil. There's just like nothing but fibbage everywhere. But you look at the bottom and you see that woodruff key right there. It's straight up, and then there's a little arrow indicator, and it indicates, you know, with the dot that's on the pulley. Isn't that fun? Now what's weird about this is you go to turn this bolt and it feels like it's full of goo, you know, instead of being solid and turning the whole motor over in a rigid sort of way. It's like there's a hydraulic dampening to it, almost like a shock absorber. So expect that when you go to turn it, you'll be like, oh wow, that was loose. But then, you know, come to find out it wasn't. Maybe that wasn't off a tooth. Look at that, it looks pretty close. No, it's off a tooth. Just barely, but I think it is. So anyway, I am going to put a new timing belt and water pump in this. As far as this one right here goes, I didn't loosen this bolt right here when I did the power steering pump. I thought I didn't have to. I just loosened this part and then that draw bolt, and it would not budge. And it actually rotates down that way, which is kind of interesting. I didn't suppose that. So bear that in mind when you go to loosen the belt off of that one, and then just, you know, the other bolt behind. You're going to want to take your power steering pump all the way out, because this water pump, as you look at the new one, sits in there like this, and then you've got two bolts on the side, one here and one here, for a coolant carrying pipe that goes off to the right side. It's behind the power steering pump, so you'll want to pull that off so that you can access that. It's down there. So that's how it works out. There's your timing marks and all the rest of what you need to know. When you go to do the pump, just remember to use some silicone around the sealing surfaces. Your sealing, not the top of the room, but your sealing, meaning keeping the coolant in, are going to be here all the way around. The weep hole on this one, the way you can tell if your water pump goes bad is that there'll be antifreeze traces in this part right here. It just directs the antifreeze from this side when it leaks past the seal out that hole, so that it doesn't get to where the bearing and the outer seal is. So hope that's helpful to you. As always, subscribe, rate, comment, and have a wonderful day. Love you.